Each time that I visit McNairy County, I stop by the bridge where the first part of the ambush was alleged to have taken place. The bridge, for many, is the most iconic location of the ambush story. But you have to ask yourself, why? The small bridge on New Hope Road has long stood as the most iconic location of the alleged ambush of August 12, 1967, in which Pauline Pusser lost her life. My first visit to this location was in 2005, and each time that I visit McNairy County, I return to the bridge, hoping to find something that I've missed before, because the bridge itself, the location, doesn't fit into the story as well as most people think. It was at this location that Buford said Pauline was only wounded after a car had sped up behind them with their lights off, illuminating them only in the last seconds before shots were fired. Investigators would diligently search the area for any evidence that could be found. However, it appears that none was. Investigators and curiosity seekers would gather at the bridge that morning, attempting to determine how the ambush had taken place. Some would suggest, and rightly so, that Buford could have run the Cadillac off the road just after crossing the bridge. Some would question why Buford had failed to see the Cadillac sitting near the New Hope Methodist Church, while others would question how that the Cadillac was able to catch up with him with no headlights in the darkness of night in just 7/10 of a mile. This would have been a daunting task as Buford passed the church going 45 to 50 miles an hour, and the Cadillac started the pursuit from a dead stop. Now, when you consider that basically nothing happened at the bridge, all we have is Buford's story that something occurred there, why is it considered the iconic location of the ambush when all the evidence was 2 miles up the road? The area around the ambush site has changed some over the years. Now there's houses between the church and the bridge, and houses that are beyond the bridge. However, back then, this is pretty much what it looked like. And this photograph was taken some time after the ambush itself. My first trip to the ambush site was made with an associate, Randy McFall, and we took a photograph of what the first ambush site looked like in photograph as compared to the way it is now.
Be sure and subscribe and hit that bell so that you'll get notifications of new videos when they're released.
Now, each time I visit the first ambush site, I have to ask myself, did anything at all happen here? No evidence seems to have been found. The story doesn't make sense about a car pursuing Buford from the New Hope Methodist Church. I mean, it's only 7/10 of a mile. How could a car from a dead stop manage to catch up with Buford, who was traveling 45 to 50 miles an hour in that 7/10 of a mile, and do so without using their headlights? It doesn't make sense. And that's the reason why every time that I go to McNairy County, I visit this particular site, hoping that I might find something, some form of evidence, something that suggests that it happened the way that Buford said, but I can't do it. And I would like to hear from you on this. If you've been to that ambush site, when you think about everything that I'm laying out here, tell me if you think I'm wrong. Of course, I think we all understand that something happened on New Hope Road on August 12th of 1967. But was it as Buford said, and was that bridge actually an ambush site? It's obvious that Buford's car was involved in a shooting, as there were bullet holes all over the car. Windows shot out, a hole in the windshield, one in the radio, one in the dash. Doorpost had two bullet holes in it. But does that mean it was an ambush? Or was the shooting done otherwise? Yes, I think it's obvious that there was a shooting there on New Hope Road. It's obvious that Pauline was killed. But my real question is, was the bridge actually an ambush site? There doesn't seem to be any reason to think it really was. Maybe something happened there, maybe it didn't. But why is it held as the iconic location of the ambush when the shell casings, everything was found 2 miles down the road? It makes no sense that they celebrate that first site as the one where the ambush took place. I just really don't believe that there was much that occurred there. We know that Pauline was killed that morning, and newspapers in the following days would carry Buford's version of the story. But was it true? The evidence seems to suggest that it was not. The original 1967 investigation into Pauline's death did not go as one would expect, as there wasn't even an autopsy performed on Pauline. It would take 56 years for Pauline to be exhumed for an autopsy. This happened in February of 2024. But when it did happen, it made big news, and people began to wonder about Buford's story. Pauline's exhumation and autopsy has brought about a whole new awareness to people in McNairy County and all over the nation. And that's where we are today in March of 2025. But that brings us back to the original question. Why is the bridge considered the icon of the ambush? What made it draw people's attention? What made it the site that people wanted to see rather than the one at New Hope and Davis Yancey roads? Just one of those little things that happens, I guess. Well, at least until next time, just remember, truth has no agenda. Thanks for watching.